On North Korea, today the president told Bloomberg he was open to meeting with Kim Jong Un if the conditions were right. How does the president define the right condition to have this meeting?
Well, there's a lot of things that go along with that, and I think that's the key thing. Under the right circumstances was, I believe, the phrase he used, and I think that is something in keeping with our consistent with the policy expressed by Secretary Tillerson as well. We've got to see the provocative behavior retched down immediately. There's a lot of conditions that I think would have to happen with respect to its behavior, and to show signs of good faith. Clearly, the conditions are not there right now, but I think the president's made it clear, as Secretary Tillerson had the other day, that if the conditions, if the circumstances present themselves, we would be prepared to. But they're clearly not.
Meeting with Kim Jong Un under the right circumstances. He said he would be honored to meet with him. This is somebody who has starved his own people, somebody that has threatened to destroy the United States. Just last week, he put out a video showing the Capitol getting destroyed by North Korean fighters. How could he be honored to meet with Kim Jong Un?
Well, the president understands the threat that North Korea poses, and he will do whatever is necessary under the right circumstances to protect our country from the threat that they pose.
How would that be an honor?
Well, Jonathan, I guess because he is still the head of state, so it is sort of there's a diplomatic piece to this. But the bottom line is the president's going to do what he has to do right now. He's building a coalition in the region to isolate North Korea, both economically and diplomatically, to get the threat, to take that threat down. But that is his number one priority right now, is protecting this country and our people.
What did he mean when he called him one smart cookie, or a pretty smart cookie?
Well, I think his point was, he went over this in the interview, that he assumed power at a young age, when his father passed away, and there was a lot of potential threats that could have come his way, and he's obviously managed to lead a country forward, despite the obvious concerns that we and so many other people have. He is a young person to be leading a country with nuclear weapons, and so that set aside, I think the president recognizes the threat that he posed and is doing everything he can to isolate that threat and to make sure that we bring stability to the region.
Both of the president's comment on Kim Jong Un and what Secretary Tillerson said, you seem to be making the offer that we could have direct talks with North Korea. Who's going to be leading those?
Please. Yeah, I think
the White House?
I think that the key part of the president's statement was under the right circumstances, and that is the key. And those circumstances do not exist now. This is consistent with what Secretary Tillerson said the other day. But I think that if North Korea continues down a degree of provocative behavior, then those circumstances will never be there. But we want to hold out the possibility that if North Korea were ever serious about completely dismantling its nuclear capability and taking away the threat that they pose both to the region and to us, that there's always going to be a possibility of that occurring. That possibility is not there at this time.
Who would lead that? Is that the White House or the State
we're not. We're so far away from that possibility existing. To start identifying an individual would be highly premature.
Just to clarify on North Korea, were those conditions that you laid out the earlier question, are those the conditions that would have to be met before there was any meeting, i.e. that North Korea would have to agree to totally disarm its nuclear program, stop threatening their neighbors? Are those the conditions?
I think those are some of the conditions. There's going to be a whole host of ones that we determine, that the State Department determines in consultation with the President, that have to be met. As I mentioned, we are so early into this process that I don't see this happening anytime soon. But I think that, as the President, like I said, under the right circumstances, those circumstances aren't present today, and there would have to be significant change for that to even be a possibility.